Now coming to the Google Lighthouse tool. So similarly to the wave evaluation tool, Google Lighthouse is also a open source automated tool, mainly developed by Google for better web page quality, and it can be accessed in any of the interface from the front end. So as you can see here, the Lighthouse accessibility features, it is following a WCAG 2.1 testing, and it can be also used in the mobile accessibility testing also, where we can generate the report for mobile and also the web browser. So what are the key advantages in the Lighthouse which are apart from the Wave tool? So it is integrated in the Chrome DevTools, and also it generates a comprehensive reports, like a whole detailed report analysis, like much more better analysis rather than that of the Wave tool. So basically Wave tool is a basic standard visual analysis for any of the users to understand the main errors and what are the main elements that are causing in the causing issue in the interface. So but Lighthouse on extension, it will basically generates a whole report on each and every corner of the interface. So basically it is a much more detailed report than that of the Wave tool. It also have a scoring system, which is the main category in the Lighthouse. It will have a 0 to 100 accessibility score. As you can see, it also have like CI and CD integration possible, which are basically the dev tool containers in the HTML session. So much more technical report. It will generate much more technical report, and how issues can be solved in the technical end of the interface and all. So how to use the Lighthouse tool? So it also have two methods. Actually, Chrome, we can go through the Chrome DevTools, where we can search the Lighthouse tool. On the Lighthouse tab, we can check accessibility. On the category section, we can check category, and we can choose device, which is desktop or mobile simulation. Like it will generate the report as per the user need, like desktop report and mobile report of the same interface. Or we can use web based Lighthouse, like we can visit the pagespeed.web.dev, and we can enter the URL of the website that we need to address, and it automatically runs the analysis. And we can also install this as an extension similar to the Wave tools, and let me show you the demo of how to use the Google Lighthouse tool. So for example, on the same website, Passport Seva website, let us take this interface, and so when we double click and when we go into the inspect section of the website, so here also it is by defaultly implemented by the Google, here Lighthouse, where we can choose the options or choose a mode, like we need the navigation, which is the default mode, and we can choose the device type, like do we need the mobile report analysis, or do we need the desktop report analysis, where we can select the desktop here, as we need the desktop analysis. So when we analyze the page load, it will take 1 to 2 minutes for generating the whole report. In the wave evaluation tool, it will generate the report in by seconds, but here in the Lighthouse, it will take some more time than that of the Wave tool. We can also like view the whole report in the actual browser, like here in the 3 dots, we can click and go into the open in viewer. Here we can clearly see the analysis report of the interface. So, in the Lighthouse report, there are 4 categories: performance, accessibilities, best practices, and SOAs. So, but apart from these 3, the Lighthouse report generally focuses on the performance, like we should mainly focus on the performance of the interface. So, here the website performance is 89, and these performance metrics are calculated from these 5 components, which is the first contentful paint. So, what is this first contentful paint? So, when the interface is opened in any of the browser, so the first contentful paint part is that in the interface, what is the first resource that is loaded when the interface is opened. And next, what is the largest contentful paint? For example, in the interface, if there is any large image or large content or large resource that is opened, so how much time it is taking for the large resource part to load in the website, and total blocking time. What is this total blocking time? So, the time to block the JavaScript blocks for rendering the elements. So, it is basically for any elements to load, and for any elements to how much it is taking to block those JavaScript elements. So, here is the speed index. As you know, speed index is generally how fast the web interface is loaded. And here is the cumulative layout shift. What is this cumulative layout shift? So, basically when any advertisements are loaded in the interface, if the advertisement is loaded in the interface, the web elements that will rearrange when the advertisement is loaded in the interface, which causing distraction to the user. So, basically a shift of the elements in the interface when the ads or any external cookies are loaded into the website. So, in the Lighthouse report, here you can see it will give a detailed analysis of each of the components, like it will run a diagnostics, and also it will mention what are the insights of the components that are causing the accessibility issues in the interface, and how what are the audits that are passed in the website. For, as you can see, for each of the, for the performance some audits are run, and for the accessibility some audits are run. So, how much audits are passed and how much are ignored, and etc. So, performance is basically the whole performance of the interface according to these metrics, and accessibility score is generally how much accessibility elements, how much the elements are aligned in the how proper the alignments are made in the website and all. And coming to the best practices, so best practices is generally like, is the website following standard HTTP compliance, and is the website following WCAG guidelines properly or not, etc. And SEO is generally is the website is mobile friendly, or even if the website is responsive or not. So, basically the technical part of the web accessibility issue. So, in the diagnostics, as you can see, it is literally saying that avoiding large layout shifts, meaning if any of the table or anything that is loaded in the website, like it can be rendered or it can be solved such that we can minimize this large layout shift. It also mentions that estimated save, how much, how the effective it can be implemented and how it can be improved and all. If the large contentful paint image, if the LCP element is dynamically added to the page, you should preload the image, like in order to improve the LCP time. It will you can save here 350 milliseconds. And as I mentioned, the like in the best practices, we can so this website, this interface is using HTTP 1.1 server. So for much better improvement, we can use HTTP 2 server and etc. So here you can check each of the diagnostics that are mentioned here. As I mentioned, reduce unused JavaScript elements such that the website will reload or load much faster and saving the transfer size and timing of the time to reload those elements in the interface, time to fetch those elements in the interface. So these are some of diagnostics, and here are the past audits, like which elements are successfully passing the accessibility guidelines in the website. You can also see here ARIA, which I have mentioned, like do not matching their roles, like what elements do not match their roles in the interface and all. You can change in the HTML part or even the JS part code in the interface for a better UI design and all, for better accessibility guidelines and all, and also the contrast error here. So basically it will generate the much more detailed report than that of the Wave tool. Like you can see for each of the category, like best practices SEO, each having passed audits and what can not applicable, and what are the unnecessary elements that can be removed to save the rendering time of the JavaScript elements in the interface, and how much each of the category like how performance can be improved, and how accessibility, how best practices can be improved by reducing these loads in the website and etc. So for each of the SEOs, for each of the categories, it have separate components which are following the audits and which are not unnecessary or not following the audits, and which can be improved and etc. Basically Lighthouse is much used by developers, and Wave tool is also used by developers, but Wave tool is like common for any of the users. Lighthouse is generally used by design developers or web developers etc. for finding out much more detailed insights and diagnostics, what accessibility causing elements, accessibility issue causing elements in the interface, and how it can be solved. That is how Lighthouse evaluation works. And as I have mentioned, we can also access Lighthouse from the pagespeed.web.dev, and even we can it also have when we search in the Lighthouse extension in the Google engine, we can also go to Chrome Web Store and add it to the Chrome as an extension, where we can implement on any interface similar to that of the Wave evaluation tool as a extension here. It will ask whether it is for the device, mobile device or the desktop device etc. Then we can generate a report. It will take time, and so it is mainly by extension or by in the pagespeed.web.dev. It is basically for much more visual view of the report for users who can't able to understand the actual report of the Lighthouse. So you can use any of the methods, like either as an extension or either from the front end part in the Lighthouse section, which Google have been installed, or by default it is actually there in the inspect section, or in the pagespeed.web.dev. So this is how the Lighthouse tool also can be used, and the evaluation process of the Lighthouse tool. As I said, if the website has 90 to 100 score, it generally means the website has good accessibility features, and if the score is ranging between the 50 to 89, So it has some potential issues that needs to be fixed, or it needs improvement in the accessibility features of the interface and all. And if the score is between 0 to 49, basically it has poor accessibility elements in the issue, and a much longer much bigger improvement needed in the website. As I have shown, like the common audit elements, the color contrast and the form labels, image alt text, as I mentioned in the wave tool evaluation part. And focus indicators is nothing but the keyboard navigation visibility. Basically, uh, the mouse cursor and how to navigate to the next page, how the navigation elements are well implemented and all. So the report statistics, as I have mentioned, like it mainly focuses on the performance areas, accessibilities, best practices and SEOs, which it also like reports the core web vitals, like I have mentioned LCP, the large it also reports the core web vitals, as I mentioned the metrics which are used for the performance and accessibility and all, which capture like how fast the content loads, how responsive, and how the JavaScript elements are loaded in the website and all. So the passed audits and the failed audits, and what are the manual checks that are needed, and the irrelevant part in the interface. So then what differs between this wave tool and the lighthouse tool? So basically wave tool is like can be used by two methods, web based and browser extension, but lighthouse can be implemented in several ways, like the Chrome dev tools, where you can go to the pagespeed.web.dev and give the URL of the website. It will generate the report automatically. And command line interface, where I have shown the double clicking feature, where we can go into the inspect section of the front end dialog box, where the lighthouse is defaultly installed by the Google. And also it can be installed as a browser extension similar to the wave. So it has a separate report interface for the lighthouse tool. And so wave is like beginner friendly, as I mentioned. It can be used by any of the users, like without the any technical background or technical knowledge, or how to analyze those reports. So for those users, wave is better and much benefited tool for them. So for the developers part, lighthouse is commonly used in the developers part. And also wave has limited automation, where the lighthouse has the strong CI/CD, strong dev tools integration, where it generates the whole report, like covering each and every corner of the interface, which is not seen in the case of the web evaluation tool, which generates only basic issues in the website, causing the accessibility issues. So these are the comparisons between the wave and the lighthouse tools. When to use which tool, as I mentioned, like for a wave, like if the user needs quick visual assessment of the analysis report, and if any non-technical person want to analyze the interface of the website and etc., and also for educational purposes, etc. So and coming to the lighthouse, where we need a detailed and performance statics of the interface, and for the design developers, and if we need much more automated testing in the CI or CD development, etc. So basically in simpler terms, what is use wave for immediate visual feedback, and Lighthouse for comprehensive analysis, which have different perspectives on same issues. Also, these two tools also come up with some of the limitations, such as like Wave can only check by page, not the whole user flow, like the login to the main page and next to the application page. No, it can only check a single interface and it will generate the report for that page only. Similar case to the Lighthouse also. But Lighthouse focuses more on performance and also best practices, even in the technical implementation for the accessibility. How much we can change in the technical implementation for much better accessibility. And also it only detects code level issues, but not the content accuracy. It will detect the HTML part of the code, but not the content which is present, like alt attribute and something much more diagnostic part, which the diagnostic part is only covered by the Lighthouse tool. And here are the best practices, like you can use Wave for detailed element level issues and Lighthouse for overall audit and performance issues. So coming to the summary of these two tools, like accessibility tools are essential, but one should not rely only on those tools. What we should first do is that manual testing comes up first and then the automated testing tools. So same points as I mentioned, Lighthouse provides comprehensive technical analysis. Apart from the Wave tool, like according to the user, the tools can be used on their preference. So that's it for the session on the web accessibility tools. Check it by yourself in the resources that I have been mentioned. So thank you.